Hello, my dear students. I welcome you back to the online English class. So today we are going to learn a lesson on the return of the Iron Man. Now, this video I have made just for you to be able to help you how to read. So therefore, what you have to do is just listen to this video first, and then afterwards, you will read together with me as you switch on this video. So let us start. From farm to farm, over the soft soil of the fields went giant footprints, each one the size of a single bed. The farmers, in a frightened, silent, amazed crowd, followed the footprints. Every farm the footprints visited, all the metal machinery had disappeared. Finally, the footprints led back up to the top of the cliff, where the little boy had seen the Iron Man appear the night before when he was fishing. The footprints led right to the cliff top, and all the way down the cliff were torn marks on the rocks where a huge iron body had slid down. Below was the grey, empty, moving tide. The Iron Man had gone back into the sea. The furious farmers began to shout. The Iron Man had stolen all their machinery. Had he eaten it? Anyway, he had taken it. It was gone. So what if he came again? What would he take the next time? Cows? Horses? People? They would have to do something. They couldn't call in the police or the army because nobody would believe anything about this iron monster. They would have to do something for themselves. So, what did they do? At the bottom of the hill where the Iron Man had come from, they dug a deep, enormous hole. A hole wider than a house and as deep as 3 trees, one on top of the other. And the sides of it were sheer as walls. They pushed all the earth to one side. They covered the hole with branches, and the branches they covered with straw, and the straw with soil. So when they finished, the hole looked like a freshly plowed field. Now, on the side of the hole, opposite the slope up to the cliff, top of the cliff, they put an old rusty lorry. That was the bait. Now they reckoned the Iron Man would come over the top of the cliff out of the sea, and he would see the old lorry which was painted red, and he would come down to get it to eat it. But on his way to the lorry, he would be crossing the hole, and the moment he stepped with his great weight onto that soil, held up only with straw and branches, he would crash through into the hole and would never get out. They would find him there in the hole. Then they would bring the few bulldozers and earth movers that he hadn't already eaten, and they would push the pile of earth on top of him and bury him forever in the hole. They were certain now that they would get him. Next morning, in great excitement, all the farmers gathered together to go along to examine their trap. They came carefully closer, expecting to see his hands staring at the edge of the pit. They came carefully closer. The red lorry stood just as they had left it. The soil lay just as they had left it, undisturbed. Everything was just as they had left it. The Iron Man had not come. Nor did he come that day. Next morning, all the farmers came again. Still, everything lay just as they had left it. And so it went on, day after day. The Iron Man never came. Now the farmers began to wonder if he would ever come again. They began to wonder if he had ever come at all. They began to make up explanations of what had happened to their missionary. Nobody likes to believe in an iron monster that eats tractors and cars. Soon the farmer who owned the red lorry they were using as bait decided that he needed it and he took it away. So there lay the beautiful deep trap without any bait. Grass began to grow on the loose soil. The farmers talked of filling the hole in. After all, you can't leave the giant pit like that. Somebody might fall in. Some stranger coming along might just walk over it and fall in. And they didn't want to fill it in. It had been such hard work digging it. Besides, they all had a sneaking fear that the Iron Man might come again, and the hole was their only weapon against him. At last, they put up a little notice. Danger, keep off. This is to warn people away, and they left it at that. Now the little boy Hogarth had an idea. He thought he could use that hole to trap a fox. He found a dead hen one day and threw it out on the loose soil over the trap. Then, towards evening, he climbed a tree nearby and waited. Stars came out. He could hear the sea. Then, there standing at the edge of the hole was a fox. A big red fox stood looking towards the dead hen. Hogarth stopped breathing, and the fox stood without moving. Sniff, sniff, sniff out towards the hen. But he did not step out onto the trap. Slowly, he walked around the white patch of raw soil till he got back to where he would started, sniffing all the time out towards the bird. But he did not walk into the trap. Was he too smart to walk out there? Was it not so? But at that moment, he stopped sniffing. He turned his head and looked towards the top of the cliff. Hogarth, wondering what the fox had seen, looked towards the top of the cliff. There, enormous in the blue evening sky, stood the Iron Man on the brink of the cliff, gazing inland. In a moment, the fox vanished. Now what? Hogarth carefully, quietly, hardly breathing, climbed slowly down the tree. He must get home and tell his father. But at the bottom of the tree he stopped. He could no longer see the Iron Man against the twilight sky. Had he gone over the cliff into the sea? Or was he coming down the hill in the darkness under the high skyline towards Hogarth and the farms? Then Hogarth understood what was happening. He could hear a strange tearing and creaking sound. The Iron Man was pulling up the barbed wire fence that led down the hill. And soon Hogarth could see him as he came nearer, tearing the wire from the fence post, rolling it up like spaghetti and eating it. The Iron Man was eating the barbed fencing wire. But if he went along the fence, eating as he moved, he wouldn't come anywhere near the trap, which was out in the middle of the field. He could spend the whole night wandering about the countryside along the fences, rolling up the wire and eating it, and never would any fence bring him near the trap. But Hogarth had an idea. In his pocket, among other things, he had a long nail and a knife. He took them out. Did he dare? The idea frightened him. In the silent dusk, he tapped the nail and the knife blade together. Cling, cling, cling. At the sound of the metal, the Iron Man's hands became still. After a few seconds, he slowly turned his head, and the headlamp eyes shone towards Hogarth. Again, cling, 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 went the nail on the knife. Slowly, the Iron Man took 3 strides towards Hogarth and again stopped. It was now quite dark. The headlamps shone red. Hogarth pressed close to the tree trunk. Between him and the Iron Man lay the white lid of the trap. Cling, cling, cling. Again he tapped the nail on the knife. And now the Iron Man was coming. Hogarth could feel the earth shaking under the weight of its footsteps. Was it too late to run? Hogarth stared at the Iron Man looming, searching for him for the taste of the metal that had made that inviting sound. Cling, 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 went the nail on the knife, and crash! The Iron Man vanished. He was in the pit. The Iron Man had fallen into it. Hogarth went close. The earth was shaking as the Iron Man struggled underground. Hogarth peered over the torn edge of the great pit. Far below, 2 deep red headlamps glared up at him from the pitch blackness. He could hear the Iron Man's insides grinding down there, and it sounded like a big lorry grinding its gears on a steep hill. Hogarth set off. He ran home, home with the great news. And as he passed the cottages on the way, and as he turned down the lane towards his father's farm, he was shouting, "The Iron Man's in the trap, and we have caught the Iron Giant." Now, this is the end of the story, The Return of the Iron Man. So after you do this, switch on again this video and read together with me. So have a nice day, and may you stay safe and stay home.